Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our team Zoom. This is Ellen Winn's team, and I am part of that team. So everybody on my team is part of Ellen's team as well. But we are all David Allen Capital independent agents, just like you, and we want to welcome you to our Zoom. But I have the honor and privilege of going, and for those of you who are new here today, which I know we've got a bunch of new people that are jumping in today, I'm going to give you a little bit of information about Ellen and where she's coming from. She actually grew up on a farm just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and when she grew up, she went to work and was working in the corporate world for many years, and worked a lot in restaurants. She worked for Domino's. She was in their she was in their corporate training arena and was an area director with them. But she started her own restaurants, got a couple of those started, and after she did that for a while, she ended up, she's owned her own business ever since then. But anyways, whenever I met her, she was in network marketing. She had been doing that for a little while, and she was actually the national training director for a network marketing company whenever I first met her. I met her about, gosh, it's been over 15 years ago now. And ever since then, she has worked with people, training and helping people be successful in their business. But she is currently the area director for David Allen Capital. She's also a one-star director with Longevity, which is our parent company. If you don't understand how that works, maybe try and ask us a question on that. But anyways, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Ellen Winn.
Awesome. Thank you, Harlequin. I appreciate that. And always fun doing these calls with you. Harlequin and I decided well over a year ago that we were going to start doing a weekly team Zoom. She made the commitment to be my sidekick with all of this, which really helped me commit to being able to do it. So I appreciate you very much for always being here, Harlequin, and the rest of you that are here attending. I appreciate you for showing up. 80% of life is just showing up when you're supposed to be there. So congratulations for taking time out of your schedule to be here with us tonight. Now, I usually get us kicked off in screen share mode. Let me see if I can get that up and running. Give me 1 second here. I need to actually minimize my screen. All right, now I can get us in screen share mode, get the right information to you. There we go. All right, and Harlequin, I can see you. Can you see my screen? Looking good. Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, what we start off with every week is team recognition as far as who our top recruiters are. The core of our business is building a distribution network. DAC is the marketing arm for all of the services that we're bringing to local business owners, right? Whether it's funding, customer financing, our lines of credit, payment processing, healthcare, all of those services are just sitting there with our provider companies waiting for someone to talk to the community about it. And that's what we do as independent agents. We're the marketing arm for David Allen Capital products and services. So the only way that we can increase the distribution is by increasing the number of people that we have on the streets talking about our services and promoting them within the local community. So that's why I start off with team recognition. It's incredibly important that we're building a core team of independent agents because that is our mouthpiece to get out into the community. So let me get into our slides here and go through our top recruiters for the week. I told you all last week that I was going to get into recruiting mode, and I am serious about that. We're about to launch something next week that is going to blow the doors off of this business opportunity. I'm going to get ahead of it by having more people on my team than anybody else and more personal recruits that I have brought to the business than anybody else. So in first place for the week of 4/14 through 4/20, I came in number one with 9 recruits for the week. This is the first time Katina Willis has been unseated in months. So Katina, you got to get busy again if you want to knock me out of first place, because that's my intent to stay there. Okay. Katina came in second place with 5 recruits for the week. Congratulations, Katina. Eric Johnson came in third with 4 recruits for the week. Congratulations, Eric. And in fourth place, we had a 5-way tie with Don Adams, Tamika Brennan, Diana Garcia, TCM Business Capital, and Ulysses Tomlin, each having 2 new agent recruits for the week. So great job being on the left side of the leaderboard. On the right side of the leaderboard, each having 1 new agent recruit for the week. We had Almays Adair, Craig Becker, Justin Birch, William Carter, Coach Carter, Cindy Church, Eugene Clapp, Megan Cruz, Dion Davis, Michael Dew, Igu Technologies LLC, Angela Evans, Rolanda Johnson, Michael Rocheleau, Kevin Solomon, Chris Bartalis, and Pam Warnock, each with 1 new agent recruit for the week. So congratulations to you guys for making the leaderboard as well. Now, I always say, if you're having conversations with people about our business opportunity and our services, it's only a matter of time before your name will also be on the leaderboard, because you can't talk about DAC and you can't share this opportunity without having your business grow, because the opportunity is just too good. And I think the opportunity is just too good to be kept quiet. So let's get busy recruiting, because we got a lot of great things to look forward to. Now, Harlequin, who just introduced me, was named our Agent of the Month for April. Last Friday, she did her Agent of the Month interview. So if you did not see that live and you did not catch the replay on the link that I emailed out, make sure you go to dacyoutube.com and look for her Agent of the Month interview and catch that replay. She had some wonderful, wonderful wisdom that she shared with everybody about how to build your business through networking, traditional networking, through Chamber of Commerce meetings, local BNI meetings, and all others. So go watch that, plan on taking some notes, and you may want to actually watch it twice, because she is a master at what she's doing. She's getting a lot of business and a lot of referrals. So go take time to do that and take advantage of the tips that Harlequin shared in her interview. So great job, Harlequin. Again, I'm so proud of you, and so proud that you said yes, finally, when you saw the DAC opportunity, not only just to be a part of my team, but for me to be able to work with you again, because this is a great adventure that we're getting to share together as longtime friends. So let's go to the next slide. Some important updates I've covered this week after week, and I can't get it out there enough, because so many people will hit or miss a training, or they'll forget about something. So just real important, what we're launching on Monday means that we have a new web app that's going to be released. We're going to be marketing all of our funding products, including lines of credit, Bank Breezy 25K, and the David Allen Capital Business Funding. All 3 of those different products are going to be under one web link, and it's all going to be one single application. As people go through and answer the questions, it'll automatically be an intuitive page, and it'll take them to the correct product. So we're going to have a product for individuals who are working in a 1099 income position as a solopreneur, whether they're working as an Uber driver or Lyft or doing DoorDash or Amazon delivery. If they're receiving a 1099 income, we're going to be able to offer funding to them as long as they're making at least $3,000 a month from that 1099 income source. So folks that answer the questions that they're working through a personal checking account, generating at least 3,000 a month up to 15,000 a month. When they start answering questions in that application, they'll be diverted to the correct product for that funding product. If they are that $5,000 to $15,000 business that has a business checking account, which is what our current Bank Breezy product is, then they'll be diverted over to that application through that one-page sequence, right? You won't have to decide where to send people anymore unless you want to send them to a different landing page off of the website, okay? And then that third app that is built into this sequence as they answer questions, and it's just deciding where to send them to, will be for that larger funding for businesses. They're operating through a business checking account doing over 15,000 a month right now. But again, simplified, one simple application. You'll just have some different landing pages depending on who you're talking to and what product you're leading with, but it'll all end up in that same funding application sequence to get them over to the correct end solution for them. So real important in this, when we launch on May 1st, the Bank Breezy website, bankbreezy.com, that site is going to be going away for us. We're not going to be able to use it. Now, it's active and it will be for a few months to come, but David said you need to stop using bankbreezy.com. Okay, so if you're using bankbreezy.com / your ID number, you need to stop doing that right now. If you bought a domain name and you have your domain name pointed over to bankbreezy.com, you need to move it over to pointing to davidallencapital.com domain immediately. You can go over to that 25K today tab of David Allen Capital for your Bank Breezy cards. Make sure you add your agent ID number to the end of that as you redirect that domain so that the information is correct and you're using a domain name that is here for the long haul, the David Allen Capital URL. Okay, so let me ask you this: if you've already ordered drop cards, what do you do, right? Well, if you used a domain like I teach, then you simply redirect that domain over to the Bank Breezy, over to the 25K today tab of your DAC site. Make sure you add your agent ID, but just redirect it and those cards are fine. You just want to get them out as quickly as you can because the information on the card, the appearance of the card and all of that is going to be updated here in the very near future. But if you have those cards, don't throw them away. Just go out and do some mass distribution to get the information out. Secondly, if you did not use a domain name and you had it pointed towards bankbreezy.com / your ID, which we're moving away from, just simply use a mailing label and stick a mailing label over what is already printed on your card. So don't get frustrated and say, well, I can't use these. Here's what you do. I made labels to put on my customer finance card because when I ordered them and when I received them, the print on the little label section down here was really small. So I made labels and printed over it. Actually, I believe the one that's here is one that Harlequin had loaned me while I was waiting for my cards to come in, but I still use those cards because I like the bigger print. So just go to your local FedEx store or wherever Office Supply, they can print those if you don't have the ability to do it at home. And I created this with my name, my website, my phone number. And as you can see, I used a domain name of getdacfinance.com to redirect over to my customer finance page. But that's a simple fix if you've already printed cards and it had Bank Breezy on it. Okay. Now, if you need help with a domain and subdomains, I've got a training put together for you. It's real simple. Just go to domains.workwithellen.com. This is an example of a subdomain. The main domain here is workwithellen.com, but I created a subdomain of domains, which is in front of it. You'll learn about that in the training, but it's a way for you to have multiple redirects and multiple domains without buying but one domain name. When you go over there, you'll find a landing page that has my video. Just below it, I have a link over to, it's actually an affiliate link to where I have a reseller account with my preferred vendor, which is Namecheap. But I have an affiliate account with them. So if you're going to go through the training and get started with them and you've not been using them, I appreciate you going through that link. It just helps give me a little bit of extra reward for the time that I put in working with folks on the domains. Okay, guys, things are really happening in a big way here. We've got new record months. Last month, we finished out the month of March as a record month. And here we are 24 days into the month of April, and or 25 days into the month of April. We actually set this record on by the end of the day on Friday, but we've already got a new record month in April, and we haven't even finished the month. We've still got the rest of this week to go. So if you don't see and you can't feel what is happening with DAC, then somebody needs to give you a wake up call. And that's what I want to do tonight, is just kind of really get you refocused on DAC if you've kind of drifted off path. And if you have people on your team that have drifted off the path, reach out to them and say, hey, I think it's really time for us to start paying attention to what's going on with DAC. You know, I was on Winn's Zoom the other night, and she was talking about this new record month. They've set 2 record months in a row, and they've got a new product launch coming up on May. So I think we need to rally around what's happening, and let's get re-engaged and pay attention here, because I got a feeling something really big is about to happen. That's what I would be sharing with my team, which I am. You are part of my team, right? But you individually within your own teams, because each of you from you, if you have a team under you, you need to be spreading the word just like I do to make sure that no one is getting missed. All I'm doing, I'm sending out emails and I'm sending out text messages, but that doesn't cover 100% of my organization, because not everybody gets an email or opens the email. And certainly not everybody in my organization is on my team text broadcast list. So it takes all of us together to get the communication out. But I encourage you to reach out to anybody on your team. If you have agents, reach out, introduce yourself if you've never met them, or if you know who they are and you just haven't talked to them in a while. Do that reach out and say, hey, I think something really big is about to happen here. I don't know, but I wouldn't want to be missing it if that is the case. So help get the word out, and you'll be proud that you did, because we're going to have some phenomenal success stories to share. But speaking of success stories, we've got a couple of folks on the line tonight that have had some really big wins over the past week or so. And I wanted them to come on and share some information and share their success stories with you guys, so that you can see and hear their excitement and what's going on in their business, and think about how you want, or what you need to be doing to get yourself to that same position, so that you're having that success and feeling that same excitement that they are. So I'm going to turn off the screen here, and I'm going to pass it over to Harlequin to do an introduction, because both of these gentlemen are actually on Harlequin's organization. So she's invited them at my request to come on and do testimonials tonight. So Harlequin, you want to bring our first speaker on, do an introduction, and let everybody know who they're going to be hearing from?
Yeah, the first person that we're going to have speak tonight is Orlando Darden, who is, thank goodness, he's back in the States. Super excited and stoked about that. But you know what? He was living in Portugal when he got his first funding. So it doesn't matter where you are. It's just a matter of doing a little bit every day. But Orlando, you can go ahead and unmute yourself, and I'm going to let you take over and tell everybody what happened and how you got these clients.
Wow, thank you very much, Harlequin. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you for the opportunity, Harlequin and Ellen. Yes, I am glad to be back in the States. My way of getting my client, first off, I recently had a client to get one of our line of credits, David Allen Capital line of credit. And the client actually was a CPA firm. We had spoken, let's say, for about a few weeks, and even during tax season, they were really excited about the availability of the line of credit that we offered. Long story short, the partner put in an application. They received an offer. They received an offer for both the line of credit as well as the working capital advance. In the end, they decided that they wanted only the the line of credit. And as a result, they got that. And the other part of that is that they're very happy with the line of credit. And they talked to me at the time that they said, is there any way that we could white label David Allen Capital into our practice? At the time that we spoke, just about a couple of weeks before the announcement of the Bank Breezy platform, I told him that, well, sure, you could be an affiliate with me. You could have your own replicated website and run it alongside of your CPA practice. I actually have a follow-up conversation with him in a couple of days now that tax season is over. And, now we can have that conversation about them being a candidate to be white labeled in terms of offering David Allen Capital products and services. So I'm very excited about that. And also I have, well, thank you for those people who are saying congratulations in the chat. I also had a client of mine who's a landscaper and an industrial cleaner. And she came through a networking. My way of doing business is I'm not I'm on social media, but I'm not heavily on social media in terms of marketing. I'm a networker. I've always been a networker. In other words, I connect with professionals like financial service people, CPAs, lawyers, things of that nature. It's not a fast route, but it's a effective route once you build relationships with these professionals, because there's a mindset that, hey, we want to help each other. We want to help each other's clients. And as long as you're trusted within a network, then it sets up the opportunity for you to be able to get referrals on a recurring basis. And also you have to be willing to offer referrals too. So I'm a part of some networking groups that took a little time to really get up and running, but now they're beginning to bear fruit in terms of in terms of being referrals. So this other client that I had to go through Bank Breezy, she, as a landscaper, she needed to get some equipment out. It's landscaping season, spring. So fortunately, she was able to apply online, and within an hour, not only got an offer, but was also funded. So she was really excited about that. And now she's opening up her network to me of other landscapers or people in industrial cleaning to help to point them in the direction of me and David Allen Capital. So I couldn't be more excited. There's more to come, and I'm just very.
Your mic went out, Orlando. I'm showing you're still unmuted, but your mic just went out. Don't know what happened there. Can't hear you.
Oh no!
There you are.
Did you? Okay. Did you miss a lot of what I said, or
just the last bit of it, as you sounded like you were wrapping up?
I was wrapping up. Okay. Wait a minute. Can you hear me? Okay.
You're good.
Okay. I have red on my side, which means that the internet's not that strong. Okay. I was just saying thank you. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I'm grateful for Harlequin and your help when I had questions about helping these clients and everything then. And I couldn't be more excited about being on this team. Ellen, thank you for your tremendous leadership. Harlequin, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for this business, this opportunity. I couldn't be more excited. So I'm going to stop there before my internet goes down on me again.
Excellent. Well,
so thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate your feedback and your kind words. I knew when we first met, Orlando, and you had me do a call with you a long time ago, I'm going, this guy is really going to make some things happen, because your networking that you're talking about, I could hear and see your networking skills at the time. And guys, what he's talking about is networking. He's networking in online scenarios with online groups, right? Versus that's right. The opposite of what Harlequin is doing, where she's doing the face-to-face networking that you'll learn about in her Agent of the Month interview. So I can see a training somewhere down the road for you, Orlando, talking about networking in groups through that online scenario, because you've got some good stuff to share. And what you pointed out of people will do business with you after you get that trusted relationship. There are
Absolutely.
dime a dozen people coming online and buzzing into your inbox, trying to get you to buy something from them or
Absolutely.
trying to get you to join something. So it takes a while to become that trusted person in that group that's going to be someone that they'll send referrals to. So excellent example
Absolutely.
of that. And you did all that from another country. We're glad to have you back here where you can actually join us live. I know this would be in the middle of the night when you were in Portugal and you weren't able to get on our Zooms at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So real glad to see you here tonight. And thank you for sharing your testimonial and your success.
I'm
Absolutely.
more than happy to, and it was 1 o'clock in the morning there, so now this is much better for me now.
I love it. Love it. It's good to see your smiling face for sure.
Thanks so much.
All right. And Harlequin, I'm going to turn it back to you to introduce Don and get him queued up for his testimonial.
Okay. And Dawn, I see you on here. If you can, oh, and there's your camera. You can go ahead and unmute yourself. But Don just got his first funding within the last week or two and was super, super excited about that. And I wanted him to come on, and he works in the staffing industry, but he also does commercial real estate loans as well. So he's got a little bit of experience in related industry. But anyways, Dawn, if you can go ahead and unmute yourself. I see you're unmuted. Go ahead and tell us your story and how you managed to get a client.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. And that was a great story, Orlando. Congratulations. But my first client was actually a referral from a mutual friend in the real estate business. She knew a guy who needed funding for, he actually has two businesses. He actually submitted an application for his second business today. I got an email this afternoon saying they were just waiting on bank statements. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, he owns a grocery store, and his second business is a distribution business. And the grocery store is the one that we got funding for last week. And it was a real quick process. I think we only spent maybe a total of 15 minutes on the phone, and I haven't even met him face to face yet. And he's real excited. He used the money to actually start a third business. He's opening up a restaurant and a bar. So yeah, that's basically it. I was really he actually funded on my birthday, April the 12th, and I got my commission a week later on the 19th, and I was very excited to see the email the morning of my birthday when I woke up to let me know that he had funded. And
That's great news. Hey, Don,
mhm.
so I know everybody's probably going, well, wait a minute, I thought we get paid daily and we get paid the day after. Can you tell everybody how much money he borrowed so they know why it took a whole week for you to get paid on that?
He borrowed $100,000.
$100,000. And so that first commission check for you had a big comma in it, right?
That's right.
Yeah, way to
That's
get
right.
started. Now you're amped up. So if he gets his second business funded, you're actually, and you're a DAC 1, congratulations on that. So as you're amped up and he gets this second funding, you won't get 6%, you'll actually earn 6.6% of whatever the funded value is on this second funding. So I hope it's another big dollar funding for you, just like that first one was. So
Oh, me too.
now, how long have you been with us, Don?
Actually since January. But I wasn't active. I wasn't very active. And I actually don't know how I don't know how you guys found me, but I'm glad that you found me. But I've joined in January, but I wasn't real active. And then I was just having a conversation with my mutual friend, the mortgage broker. She told me she knew that that I did some commercial financing. So she asked me if I could help a friend of hers. And I said, sure. And I remember I got an email from David Allen Capital. So I watched the videos, real quick. And actually, Ellen, I texted you a couple of times and asked you a couple of questions, and you kind of coached me through it. And yeah, I got it closed. So now I'm on every training call and watching all the videos, and I'm very active now.
That's awesome. And your belief in DAC has gone through the roof, right?
Yes, yes. Yes.
Excellent. Well, real proud of you and super excited to
you.
have you on the team, and glad to have you plugging in now, because if you got that without really being plugged in and it just kind of came your way, imagine what you can do being plugged in and actively looking for those clients. One other thing that you
Right.
said, Don, you were talking about, gosh, my mind just left me on that. Oh, I know your example. You said that he borrowed that $100,000 to start a third business. I want to explain that real quick. So we don't do startup funding. However, in this particular situation where that business had enough revenue to qualify for $100,000 funding, remember, when a business borrows money from us, we don't care what they do with it. So in this particular case, because he qualified for that amount of money, he was able to take that and use it as startup funding. Now, on the reverse of that, if he were a brand new business just getting started and did not have the revenue, we would not have been able to have helped. So I wanted to clarify that on how he was able to turn that to startup funding from revenue from a current business. All right. Anything else? Harlequin, you guys had a good conversation. Did you have anything else that you wanted Don to share?
I do. One thing I want to point out, Don, you mentioned that they're waiting on bank statements for his next application.
Correct.
Whenever you get an email from submissions@davidallencapital.com and it has that comment in there, for me, that automatically triggers me to give them a call and make sure that they got the notice that they are missing those statements.
Okay.
Because sometimes they'll miss that email. I had a client that is applying for a line of credit that they applied this morning and they didn't attach one of their bank statements. So I immediately got on the phone and called and said, hey, they need you to go ahead and send this in. Because with that client, we're using April instead of January income. But I just want to say congratulations to you. And the other thing is that now that you've had this success, you've started doing some recruiting as well. Yep. And super excited to have you do that. And looking forward to working with your team that you're now generating.
Thank you.
And what is that team name that you came up with, Harlequin, for your organization? The
For my team, we are the Star Maker team, because on the longevity side, whenever you hit the 1-star level, that's when you start being eligible to earn car bonuses and fun things like that. And also the business owners that we're working with, David always says they're rock stars, and we want to be able to make them shine as well.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Okay. So thank you both for your testimonials tonight and sharing. I can see and hear the excitement in your voice, and rightfully so. Orlando's story, he's been plugging away at this for quite some time with us, but he's been committed, he's been plugged in, and as he shared, he's been building relationships. So all of us have success at different timelines in the business. Harlequin shared on her interview last week that it took her a while to get her first client. And I have shared in the past too that I got started with DAC and I started team building, but it took me several months into the business before I actually got my first funded client as well. So come in and work at whatever pace is comfortable for you, but I encourage you to get in that comfort zone and then stretch outside of the comfort zone, because that's when growth really happens, is when you start doing the things that are uncomfortable for you until it becomes comfortable, and then you continue stretching from there. So again, back to what's about to happen on Monday. We're going to have this live. David said May 1st. That's going to actually be Sunday, but he's going to launch it live on Monday. And we're going to have new collateral material. We're going to have new brochures and flyers. That's all being created right now. I caution you, if you're pulling down information from the Agent Resource Center, I would say only use what you absolutely need from there right now, because we're doing an overhaul of the Agent Resource Center. A lot of the information back there is going to be pulled down. Also, if you have new people that are getting plugged in and you're trying to coach them through the training process, make sure that you caution them to not watch videos that are more than like 2 or 3 weeks old, unless it is in the basic getting started training series, because things have changed so much from, say, when we launched the line of credit forward. Things have changed so much that a lot of those other videos are obsolete. So just dig into the basics and get ready for a massive explosion in our company. And just because DAC is having record months and just because DAC is having record growth doesn't mean that your business is going to do the same. It's going to take your activity. But if you will start having activity, you'll be able to ride that wave and be able to grow at a rapid pace with us, because the word is going to get out on the street real quickly about this funding platform that can help anybody that's doing 3,000 or more a month as an independent contractor. It's going to open up our market tenfold to what we currently have available right now, to as far as the people that we can help. Another thing I want to touch on before we go to questions is something that Orlando was talking about, and that was white labeling Bank Breezy. And what he's referring to is our master agent program. It's been talked about multiple times. We talked about it last week, but again, people are coming in and out of these and not hearing the information, so I'll touch on that. Our launch on Monday is going to give us that new Bank Breezy brand. Everything funding will be under the Bank Breezy umbrella. Bank Breezy, we have been the exclusive marketer, DAC has, we've been the exclusive marketer for that brand up until now. But now Bank Breezy is going to be opened up to where other companies, other sales organizations can market Bank Breezy without being under the DAC umbrella, without being a part of the DAC multi-level compensation plan. And it's called a master agent program. So white labeling is a term, but not 100% the way that we want to describe it. Because when you think of white labeling, you remove a brand from something and let someone put their own brand on it. We're not going to do that. The Bank Breezy brand will remain, but they'll be able to co-brand it with another company that is like right now. If you go to the David Allen Capital page for 25K, it says DAC powered by Bank Breezy, I think, or maybe the reverse. But anyway, you see co-branding on our David Allen Capital page with the Bank Breezy logo. That's how it's going to work for companies that want to come in and be a master agent. They'll have a totally different compensation plan, but the best thing is you'll get paid for making referrals to those companies that want to be a part of the master agent program. I won't go into detail. It's been covered in videos, but if you have a prospect for that, certainly reach out. We can discuss to determine whether they're a good fit for just being a DAC agent, which they'll make more money here, or whether they're a great candidate to go to the master agent program. I know I have a call tomorrow at 1 o'clock with a company that I need to help weigh out to determine which direction is going to be a good fit for them to get involved by marketing our funding product. So that's what I have. Let's open up. I want to see if we have any questions or comments from our group tonight. Let's see. If you do, just raise your hand under there's a hand raise button at the bottom, or reactions button where you can raise your hand. I see Janelle, you have your hand raised. I'm going to ask you to unmute. How are you doing tonight, Janelle?
I'm doing wonderful, Ellen.
Awesome.
This is probably about my third meeting. So I watched the leadership one with David. I think it was probably from the 28th of March. And so I'm, even though I'm just getting started, it's been the 28th will be my 60 days. So I'm not quite there yet, but I have a person that just signed up their first recruit. And I'm trying to make sure that I can be the leader for them and getting them to, watch the videos as I'm still learning. And my sister brought me in. My question is tonight is, I didn't know her person had already gotten in. She told me about the person because we talked on Saturday, but until you went off the list. And she told me she had talked to you. Her name is Rolanda. And I was just wondering, I went to Longevity and I looked in my back office and I could see, her downline. But I didn't get any email. How do you know? Do you have to check Longevity every day? Or, how do you know that your team is being built?
Yeah,
So that
great
you can
question.
stay in touch.
Yeah, that was Roro that I talked to.
Correct.
Yeah, so great question. So when you personally enroll someone that signs up through your partner link, you receive an email congratulating you that you have a new team member, right? But only on people that personally enroll through your link. The same goes with our services too. When you are the direct referrer of a client for funding or a client for customer finance, or again, that business partner, if you're the direct link that they went through, you receive an email congratulating you that you have a new team member or a client in process. If it is someone beneath you on your first level or beyond, somewhere in your organization, you don't see that. You don't get an email. And the only way to see your team is growing is to log in through that Longevity back office and go to the genealogy report. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, look back through the emails that I have sent out and go to probably your third or fourth email from me beyond that welcome to our DAC family email. I have one that the subject line is back office and business center tour.
Yeah.
And there's a video there that takes you through where to find those reports. So you can go through and watch that and navigate that back office to find them. As far as customers go, you're not going to know that someone in your team has a customer until one of two things happens. You either pull the volume reports from your back office, again, that's covered in that video, or you're qualified and engaged to earn overrides and you get that weekly override commission statement. So that's one of two ways that you're going to know. Or of course, the third way is that you're in communication with your team member and they're letting you know what is going on. You know that there's a client process or that they had someone that got funded. And I'm real proud of you, Janelle, for saying that you're working with your team. We need more of you in this group. We've got a lot of people that are recruiting, but they get that email that they have a new person that just signed up and they never reach out to them to say, hey, welcome to the team. I'm your enroller. Or you have people in your team that there's a report showing that you have new people in the team and you're not reaching out to those. Not you, I'm making that example. So we need more Janelles that are actively engaged in the conversation and welcoming people to the team and trying to be helpful. You brought up a great point about you're new and you're learning. One of the best ways for you to learn is to be engaged in those conversations, because if we go to one of the most powerful tools in building our business, which is a three-way call, when you're working with a new agent, Janelle, and they ask you a question that you don't know the answer to, instead of trying to get the answer and feeding them the answer, maybe on a phone call or something, do a three-way call and get the answers together. That way you're both learning the answers at the same time and have a little bit deeper conversation. Or maybe you've got a client scenario where you're working with a new agent, both of you are new, and you got a client question that neither one of you really know the answer to. And maybe you reach out to me or whoever in your upline you're working with, and we can do a call with your client on the phone, and you guys listening in the background, listening to our conversation with that client, sitting back, taking notes. It's a great learning tool for you to do that. So thank you for bringing that up, and thank you for your question. Did you have anything else?
No, thank you so much. It's exciting. It's exciting, but it's a little overwhelming because there's so much coming, but we're going to get there. Thank you, Ellen.
Awesome. Well, just enjoy the ride, because it is a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but as long as you stick with it and you keep plugging into the updates and the new things going along, it'll all start becoming second nature for you pretty soon. All right. Thank you for your question. All right. I'm going to lower your hand, and I have Randy's hand up. I'm going to ask you to unmute, Randy. How are you doing tonight?
Doing great, Ellen. Good to see everybody.
Excellent. Good to see you.
Yep, I'm just I call it creeping along because I'm not as fully engaged as a lot of folks, but I am learning a lot. I just ordered my first 1,000 cards and had my domain name put on, which is Biz Help Biz. Catchy little name there. But my question is, it goes into David Allen Capital, the full David Allen Capital with all the tabs.
Right, the overview page.
Overview. So you were talking, and I know I was listening by phone this morning a little bit about the leading with, and I'm asking you, do you recommend using one of those tabs at 25? And I think probably I'm answering my own question as I'm asking it, because I'm thinking, but I'm learning these markets of people. I mean, I'm actually hitting the pavement. I'm doing the one-on-one, having a great time, a lot of good rapport, and a lot of, I call small success, but so now it's going to that overview page to where, like, I had a trucker who needs a new truck and sent him to that. I'm wondering if I should have just honed into one, like maybe just the David Allen Capital Funding tab, or if it's good to just send, because they're going to go in there and see all this information. And I've been talking to them about only funding for that truck. Then what do you recommend on
Well,
that?
let me ask you, which card did you order?
I did order I'm going to have to look at it now. I did order the David Allen Capital card.
The funding card?
Yes.
Not the Bank Breezy, right?
Let me just, I've got to do a visual to be sure. Yeah, so it's the David Allen Capital.
Okay, so there's no right or wrong answer there. Okay. If you send them to davidallencapital.com/your ID, and that's where your domain directs, that's fine, because then that is the overview page showing that we have all of these other services. Or you might want to wait until Monday to make a decision on which page you point that URL to and point it to something different, because there might be a message on the business capital page that really resonates with you versus what your card says. Or you might say, hey, I'm going to send them over here to the 25K today tab. But that's the beauty of the domain, Randy. There you can have it pointing to one page this week and go, I'm changing my strategy, and all you do is go in and you change the redirect on that domain as to which page you want it to point to. So I would wait and take a look at what we have coming out with the new slick website that is coming out along with that new application. And then I think you'll realize which one is the best fit for you. But the overview page, I like that because it shows everything under our umbrella with them going to that one page. So no right or wrong, just whatever feels good for you to be marketing that. Just make sure if you select a different tab other than that homepage, that you always add your agent ID number to the end of that link before you copy it from the browser to paste into the forward to, or where your domain is going to point to. So. Okay,
and I'll piggyback this question on that. So I when I bought my domain, I bought the .net and the .org. I of that same name, just to keep others from buying it up and maybe trying, whatever. I was told that by my son, it'd be a good idea, but would it be okay to use the .net, .org to maybe go to, if I seen the advantage of maybe getting heavy with the 25K using the net or the org to point to that, or do you kind of discourage maybe even using?
No,
the
do whatever you want to do. Typically a .org is a nonprofit URL, but think of it this way too. You could have that pointing to your partner page because you're building an organization. So you could use the .org to have a redirect that goes straight over to your partner page. And when you're talking to someone about the opportunity, just send them directly to that domain name. So no right or wrong. .com is always your most frequently used and most common extension of a domain, but .net is also a good one as well.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for the questions.
Yeah.
And I know, Randy, you are one of our up and coming superstars.
Yeah.
I can see it, I can feel it, and I believe it's going to happen for you. So
Yeah.
thank you for your comments tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to lower your hand. I have Eric Brooks with your hand up. What do you got tonight, Eric? How are you?
Hey, Ellen, how are you?
Excellent, excellent.
Hey, I had a quick question. I spoke with a company earlier today. It was a cannabis company. They actually do construction for different, I guess they build the grow houses or whatever. And they had a client, I actually presented the opportunity to them via online. And I reached out to them on one of the Facebook groups. It got to me, I asked you the other day if we could actually, do cannabis companies or what, and you said yes. I was like, okay. And that's when I proceeded to talk to him. And he said he had a client that needed funding. So he was going to get back to me. And I guess he presented the opportunity to the client. And they said that they, because they already have an established business, but they were trying to expand to a new business. So he said that they wanted to just get investors and they didn't want to get funding. And my question is, like, I kind of like froze up because I didn't have a rebuttal and I didn't know how to overcome that objection. So for future reference, like, do you have any suggestions how to overcome that type of an objection with any company that says they rather go with investors and they already have the established capital to get financing? Is there an advantage that I could actually say to them to kind of persuade them to come our way, or no?
Well, you might throw in there, or I would say, well, that's great. That's wonderful that they're wanting to go that route. But one thing you might want to consider is applying for a line of credit with us, because even if you don't need it, having access to it and not needing it is better than needing it and not having it. So I would encourage them to go down that path when they say they don't want to do funding with us, but pique their interest in the line of credit, because our team, once they apply for the line of credit, they're going to qualify them for the line of credit and funding if they can qualify them for both. And they'll present both offers back to that business. So sometimes when someone says, no, I really want to go this route, when they're presented with an offer, they might have second thoughts about that and reconsider and say, this is right in front of us right now. We might want to take this. But I would turn that to the line of credit, because that line of credit conversation is a great door opener. Harlequin has had phenomenal success, having been in the middle of these different organizations that she's been networking in the past year and a half. And sometimes the funding conversation wasn't getting the traction that she wanted or the doors open, but she could see an immediate shift in the conversation once we launched that line of credit, and it's really opened tremendous number of doors. So that's where I would go with it.
Yeah.
All right, I appreciate that.
If I can add something to that.
Absolutely.
If somebody is specifically saying that they would rather have investors, ask them what percentage of their company are they having to give up in order to get that investor to invest. Because if they're anticipating that their business is going to be worth $1 million, say a couple of years from now, and they have somebody put up 100,000 and they have to give away, right now it's only worth, say 100,000, and they have to go and give up 20, 30, 40% of their business, sometimes even 50. Are they wanting to give up $500,000 potentially for something that would only cost them at most 50,000?
Yeah, that's a strategy. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the main thing that I talk to people about if they're trying to decide between investors and getting funding. Sometimes those investors may be doing more than just providing funding. They may be offering advice and help, and they may be working with them. So there is that. But what you can do is tell them, hey, look, go ahead and see what it would cost to do funding through us. And then that way, like Ellen said, get the offer, and that way they know what they're comparing. And they know that, okay, I don't have, I don't have to give up half my business, or even if it's just 10%, because over the long term, that money is going to be so much more expensive if they get an investor versus getting funding through us.
That's
Yeah,
actually true.
That's a great point, Harlequin. And not only is it costing them more, but it could cost them control of the company. If you guys have heard David talk about his free network, his first network marketing company, he got to the point that he had given away shares of his company to investors to where he lost control of the company because he had given away over 50% to those investors that had shares of it. And when it came down to the decision where his investors that had control were wanting to take the offer from the telecommunications company that was offering to buy them out, and David was steadfast in his commitment that he was building a lifelong company opportunity for his agent network, he was forced to walk away from the company to prevent that sale because he lost control of the company. So that's a great point there, Harlequin. And I think we've given you some good fuel there, Eric, for that conversation.
Definitely. And I had one other question before,
Okay.
Moved on. As far as, with the changes that are coming up on next Monday to DAC, are we still allowed to use our regular, our replicated link with our number on it, or do we have to get a domain name now?
No. You can continue. That's something that is provided by the company. I asked specifically that question today on our leadership call. I said, David, we have our domains from davidallencapital.com/our ID number. Can we paste that into social media, where when it creates an image, it's creating an image that says David Allen Capital. It has David Allen Capital at the bottom of that. I said, can we do that with these new advertising restrictions? And he said, absolutely, because that is created by the company. It is company approved material. So absolutely, you can use that. We're just recommending that if you're doing print material, to do a domain name, so you have that flexibility like we were talking about with Randy, where you can change up where you want that to point to later. Or if you're doing, guys, I've got my Craigslist training out there. If you're running ads on Craigslist, do not use davidallencapital.com/partner/your ID number. You absolutely need to be using a domain name if you're running Craigslist ads for recruiting. And anywhere else, you can't come up with David Allen Capital in a name of a URL or in an email address, or you can't use the logos. And that's just pretty simple. But if it's already provided by the company as far as on the web page, it's 100% thumbs up, ready to go.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for the questions, Eric. Always good to talk to you.
All right, have a good night.
You too. All right, I've got Jesse with your hand up. I'm going to ask you to unmute. What do you have tonight, Jesse? How are you doing?
Hey, Ellen, good to see you again. So I've actually got two questions. So my first question is about, I guess, the new update. So with that, with the new update, just for clarification, my clients, they will just go to one page, and with the application, it'll kind of guide them towards the product that's best for their current situation. Is that correct?
That's correct. So whatever page you're using right now, what page do you lead with, Jesse? Are you leading with the David Allen Capital funding or the 25K today funding, or are you leading with Bank Breezy?
So I've never really led with the Bank Breezy. I've always kind of led with a 25K today because I kind of leave that up to the business owner to decide which way they want to go, depending on how much money they feel like they need.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been pretty much my go-to right now.
Okay.
But I've had a lot of clients that have like applied for, say, for example, like the funding, but were hesitant to apply for the business lines of credit or other services, just because they didn't want to necessarily do more than one application.
Gotcha. Well, the beauty of it all is if you're leading with that 25K today tab, it's going to be the same application. The content on the page, the message on the outward facing page may be a little bit different on that page than on the business funding page. The content may be a little bit different, but when they start on the application, it's going to be the exact same application, no matter which page of your website they go through. And even on the line of credit, the outward facing info will be different, but when they start applying for the line of credit, it's going to be the same application, no matter what funding page they go through. So it simplifies the process. And if they qualify, if they're doing 15,000 or more, and they've got at least 1 year in business, meeting the minimum requirements for line of credit, even if your business owner didn't want to do that second application for line of credit, they don't have to. In fact, right now, they don't have to, because any business that meets the line of credit qualifications, our internal team is automatically trying to pre-qualify them for the funding application that they completed and line of credit, and vice versa. So they're doing all that behind the scenes for you without the client having to do additional applications. So it's going to be really good stuff. It's going to be seamless and a smooth transition for your clients. And for you guys in the field, you're going to have the basic training that you need to go through. But I think one of the most confusing things for new agents is, do I send them to Bank Breezy or do I send them to the David Allen Capital page? And really haven't had a good understanding of the difference between those products. Now that takes that training equation out of the equation completely, because it's all going to just be a one page that sifts and sorts automatically and detours them and takes them down the right path to the right funding product in the end. All right. Did you have another question, Jesse?
Yeah. So my second question was about the 1099 funding and how that works. I hadn't really seen anything on that. Could you just like expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, well, we don't have all of the details on it, but I'll tell you what we do know. They're going to be training on this once it goes live. But in a nutshell, we are now going to have a funding product for 1099 gig workers. Okay, and we're going to have some collateral social squares and brochures and flyers that will be targeting gig workers, anybody that's working for themselves and earning at least $3,000 a month through a 1099 independent contractor position. Those will be the people that'll qualify. 3,000 has got to be their revenue, and it's going to go back just like our past 3 months, I assume, just like we have today. That's what we're looking at. They can be operating through their personal checking account, don't have to have a business account. But David said that when we first launched Bank Breezy, we had over 300,000 applications come through that platform. Initially, we were flooded with applications because we had just transitioned off of the SBA program, where we had the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP. And the PPP was opened up to all the independent contractors so that they could apply as a business owner. And then we had the EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan. That was opened up to the 1099 workers considered as small business owners. So when we launched Bank Breezy, this business owner lending platform, all of these independent contractors are going, well, the SBA just taught me that I'm a business owner. I'm going to apply over here. But 80% of them, 200 or 280,000, not 80%, over 80%, 280,000 of the 300,000 that applied did not qualify for the Bank Breezy funding platform because they had personal checking accounts. A lot of them may not have met revenue requirements either, but a personal checking account was an automatic disqualification. So bringing this product in, which is fully automated, the client that qualifies for that program will be able to get funded in like 5 minutes, right? So it's just going to be a turnkey, quick access to money. And I think we're going to see a massive explosion, not only on the funding side of it, but I think that when you have someone that comes in with as a gig worker, their mentality is already, hey, I'm an independent contractor. I like this freedom of making my own schedule and creating my own day. And they're going to start asking questions and wanting to know how they can market this product too. So I think it's going to create a massive influx of agent growth just from people seeing the funding platform, getting funded, and wanting to get paid for telling other people about it. So lock and load, I'm telling you, it's going to be a big, big deal when this goes forward. So hopefully that answered your question, Jesse, on what's coming. Again, more details when the product is launched. There will be in-depth training on how that works and who the primary candidate is.
Okay, for sure. Because I know a lot of the people that I've been in contact with fall within that category. So they weren't necessarily able to. I wasn't necessarily able to help them before. So yeah, that's definitely very exciting.
Awesome. Well, I hope you're making a long list of those folks that you can go back to them and say, hey, I may have a solution for you now. That's good stuff.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the question. All right. I have Janet with her hand up. I'm going to ask you to unmute. I unmuted and then I muted you. I think I've asked you to unmute now. There we go. How you doing tonight, Janet?
Good. I wanted to expand on the networking because I do a lot of in-person networking. Like I've been with my chamber for a very long time. My business before this has been pet sitting. Like I have a golden retriever snoring on the floor below me, chihuahuas over there. So I'd been in the chamber with that business before DAC. So like Harlequin was saying, you know, you do your elevator speech and stuff, but volunteer. I'm a diplomat, which means that I'm a volunteer, that when we go to events, it's my job with a bunch of other people that we introduce ourselves to the new members and make sure that they get introduced to different people. So it's another excuse to talk to them. When I first started doing that, I used to volunteer to be the photographer because I could hide behind that camera and it got me to talking to people. I also volunteer on another team that it's all about the nonprofits. So like this Friday, we're doing a appreciation lunch for the nonprofits. We're going to have like a room full of nonprofits and the people that run them. And so it's getting introduced to them as well.
Excellent.
So like, and then in January, I was the team lead for Taste of the Town. We had 48 restaurants. We sold tickets and people could go to each one of those restaurants with a ticket. Each restaurant had their own sample. So now the restaurant owners know me when I walk into their restaurant.
Nice.
Or I remind them who I am. And one of them actually, she got a loan and she's done one renewal so far.
Excellent.
And she said the reason that she picked me was because I had the chamber logo on my emails and stuff. She said, I think she figures when you're doing paid networking like that, then it kind of puts credibility behind it.
Yeah,
But my question is, when David talks about the 1099, and you've said it yourself, keep using Uber driver as an example. Like if you're going to like say a independent like painter or something, they may need money to get like extra tools or whatever. Like what's our target market as far as like how do you like you give suggestions on what they could use that money for. What would you say to an Uber driver other than, well, if you need a new car to take these people around? You know what I
Well,
mean?
I don't think that it would be a great fit for them to buy a new car, but there are a lot of Uber drivers on the road that have mechanical issues with their cars, or they need new set of tires and or wheels because they're putting so many miles on it. So I think our funding is really going to come in handy for someone like that that might have a big
Okay.
repair that's necessary, but they don't have the cash to do it, and we can provide them access to do that. So,
So it keeps them running. Gotcha.
mhm.
Okay. I just
Yeah.
couldn't think of what an Uber driver would do. But
Yeah,
you.
or it could be, there are some high dollar air freshener systems, ionizers that I've had some friends of mine that are in the limo business. They were allowing people to smoke in their car because they had this ionizer deal that recirculated the air and got rid of the odors. And it was several $100s, but people will buy stuff like that to upgrade their vehicle to be able to make more money. So there's lots of it. But I'm glad you said that about painters, because when we look at the gig workers, it doesn't necessarily just fit into that app-based gig worker. It will apply to people that are painting or lawn care, and these folks that really have a small business that they work for themselves, but maybe they never set up a business checking account. A lot of people have been denied with us because they're still operating through a personal account. So it's just going to open up a whole realm of possibilities on who we can help once that product is live on Monday.
Okay. Oh, and I just thought of one other thing for the networking. We do like 5 to 10 ribbon cuttings a month in my chamber, and going to these ribbon cuttings, then you're getting into a smaller group. You're meeting restaurant owners, and I was at one this past Friday, and it was for a credit union. One of the guys came up to me and introduced himself, and I said, "We've met before. I recognize your name." He says, "Really? Where did we meet?" And I said, "Well, it had to be a chamber event because I've been in for a long time." He said, "Do you do line of credit?" And I said, "Yes, we do." He says, "I've got this guy that he really needs money. His revenue is like 2 million. And he says, I can't help him." So I sent him my information, and hopefully something will come out of that.
That's great. Yeah. And great suggestions there, Jen. It's always good seeing you on here. I'm glad you're taking time to join us.
I love the way you explain things.
Thank you. And when you have that opportunity to meet with a banker, let them know that we are not their competitor. We're here to help them actually make them look good, because if anyone that applies through us is qualified to get bank lending, we would prefer that they go get the money from the bank, because the bank's going to give them a better rate, right? But you want to let that banker know that we're here for those people that they have to turn away, because that banker doesn't want to say no. They want to find a solution for their customer, because if they can't find a solution, then you end up with a customer that gets frustrated and angry at the bank and might pull their checking from that bank and move it somewhere else. So if that banker can refer you, you can be that trusted partner, then that banker can still keep that checking account there. And then when we get them to a position where they've been able to grow and expand through our working capital or lines of credit, where they're that bigger business that the bank is looking for, then they can turn back to getting qualified for commercial lending through that bank as their business grows and develops over time. So we're not their competitor, we're their trusted partner in the network. And again, with Harlequin, she can tell you time and time again where she's starting to get a lot of referrals from small banks because they can't help, and they trust Harlequin. They know that she can help and will help, and she's a trustworthy person to hand off a client to. So good stuff there, Janet. Thank you again. Appreciate your comments. I'm going to lower your hand, and I have Clark's hand up. I'm going to ask you to unmute, Clark. What do you have for us tonight? How are you doing?
Actually, this is Melody Clark. I talked to you the other day. I'm brand new.
Yeah. Hey, Melody. How are you?
Okay. Just a couple quick things. I'm wondered where my back office is, but now I found a training that's going to show me all that stuff. So I'm not going to bug you about that. I have and also too, I have one agent that just signed up underneath me. what I want to do is I want to start working also with a younger crowd. There is a local event that's going on this coming Thursday, and it is a reverse, it's called a reverse job fair. So instead of employers being there and, people are walking in, with their resumes and stuff, this is the high school kids are going to be there, but they're the ones doing the interviews, and the business people are walking in off the street going, hey, I got these opportunities. And so, I'm thinking, some of those kids are going to be graduating soon. Some of them are in the 18 age range and that type of stuff. And it would be interesting to, get a group of them and work with them and show them this. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So you want to get your pitch down, right? I would talk to them about being an entrepreneur, because they're going to be listening to other people with job opportunities.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I would create my pitch wrapped around being an entrepreneur and having a part-time gig where they can be their own boss, work from comfort of home, work any hours, part-time. Training is provided for free, and there's an unlimited income opportunity. Just, hit those bullet points with them. And if they're open to more information, get their information. Don't just pass off a card to them. You want to get their information so that you can put them in a follow-up file, because by the end of the day, they're going to have cards and information from so many different people.
Yeah, they actually are supposed to have resumes that they're supposed to hand you when you go in there.
Yeah.
So,
okay, good. Yeah, because it's going to be incumbent on them to follow up with the employers otherwise, right? Unless you have a means of reaching out to them and doing the follow-up. And then, if you can create an email that's kind of an email template and just go in. I'd send every single one of them an email, make notes on who you think is the sharpest in there, email them, and then text them too, because that younger generation, they're all about texting, not so much emailing. So look for their mobile phone. If it's not on there, make a note or ask them. Say, hey, is your cell phone on here where I can send you a text message? Ask them and circle it and make notes on the application, because they'll respond to you if you text them.
Right. Well, and that's, pretty much everything you said, I already had in my head, as far as, communicating with them and, making sure I had all their information. So, I think that's kind of a cool thing that they're doing with these youngsters, getting them to see the other side of the coin, kind of, they're the ones kind of doing the interviewing and that type of stuff. And it's kind of refreshing that they are, being proactive in what they're looking at. So, and I know, they have to be at least 18, or, to be in David Allen Capital, correct?
Either 18 or have their parents' permission if they're not 18. Correct.
Okay. Okay. I thought they had to be at least 18. Okay. That helps a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I definitely, I wish somebody would do that with me when I was that age. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And so we can, work with a group of them. And I think, some of them are go-getters, and there are some, people who can have college and stuff. They have that opportunity, but, if their parents can afford it, they can't afford it, but they'd still like to do something that's gonna, make their life better. And,
Absolutely.
I think, working with them with this is gonna show them something new.
Yeah, great comments. And I'm glad that I could be your second witness to what you are already thinking, Melody. That's good that you're already on that page. But let me say this, we do not have enough young people as agents in DAC. We've got an older group for the most part in 40s and up. And you get started bringing some young blood on and getting into that, just getting out of high school, college age kids, you can have a massive explosion in your organization. So go get them. Go get them. That's a great opportunity for you.
Well, it starts Thursday.
Good luck.
Also too, because I'm new at this and I'm kind of just starting to look at things, is just making sure that I can explain things to them, or, have some knowledge of what I need to do. So, that was another thing. The gentleman that you gave me his name, he's going to call me tomorrow after I get off of work. So
Okay.
hopefully I'll get some good education going within the next week, to where then I can start working with these individuals. As far as, and I know how to work with banks and companies and owners of companies and stuff like that. It's just making sure I'm doing the steps right through, David Allen Capital and everything. And now you've got this new thing coming up. So I'm questioning, should I just wait for a couple days because it's going to be the first shortly, and that type of thing.
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of waiting, other than like we were talking about redirecting a domain name, and just you can wait a few days. You've already got the content out there, so wait a few days to determine which one of those pages you want to send it to. But the waiting, if you're new, I would say go ahead and dive in, and if you're doing training and so on, continue, because the information that we already have in our training platform is just going to be layers on top of the new that comes in on that. So keep doing that, and this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm glad that you've already connected to do a call tomorrow. Thank you for reaching out to me and having that conversation, and I hope that you're doing the same with anybody that comes on in your group, which I have a strong feeling that you will be. So that's good stuff.
Well, and that's my thing is I've worked for so many other companies who just kind of go, there it is, do it,
Yeah.
And so it's nice to have some kind of guidance, to somebody. I want to be able to answer their questions and help them, as, I would like to have answers and, stuff like that myself. So,
Okay, so here's your pitch for your job fair on Thursday.
okay.
Go to the David Allen Capital presentation, the full presentation that's on your partner page. Okay. When you go to davidallencapital.com/partner, it has an 8-minute short overview with David. He's the talking head, as he says, right? But below that is a link that says, click here for more detailed presentation. Click on that more detailed presentation. And about the second slide into the presentation, he's got all of those bullet points on one slide. So get to that and just make notes of those bullet points, rehearse it, and get it in your head as to the benefits of DAC, and ask them, are they open to getting information about it? And then if you've given them the bullet points and you've piqued their interest, the next thing is to get them through the presentation on your website. Let the video do the story for you. I used to, years ago, I used to try to tell the story myself long before we had online presentations like we do today. But I can't tell you how many times I told the whole presentation over the phone, or spent 30 minutes answering questions with someone who it wasn't a good fit for. And afterwards I'd get frustrated and I go, man, I spent all of that time. Now I got to go do it again. So that's the beauty of the video presentations. It does all of that for you. You spend your time talking and qualifying people. And then when you find that qualified person, point them to the video, let them watch the video. And after they've watched the video, then you can answer any basic questions that they have that they need answered before they hit join now to sign up. But then if they start asking training questions, say, hey, those are great questions, but they're all going to be covered in the training that's required for you to get started. So I'm always redirecting back to a training tool to make good use of my time, and also make sure that the information that person, that new agent is receiving is consistent, because the video doesn't change until we update the material, right? So that'll help you in the process there too. Thank you, Melody. I appreciate your question.
Thank you.
Anything
I
else?
appreciate your help. That's good.
All right, awesome. Well, I don't have any other hands raised. Harlequin, is there anything in the chat that needs to be addressed that we haven't already talked about?
Yeah, a couple of people were talking about, examples of what a 1099 gig worker would use the money for. And also somebody mentioned that real estate agents would be a good option. A couple of comments on that. On the real estate agents, one of the challenges with them is their income is so inconsistent that they do usually have to have at least with the other fundings, and I'm assuming that it will be the same for this, they have to have at least 3 deposits per month from their business to qualify for funding. So that's just something to keep in mind. But I was talking to Patricia Clausen last night, and she made a comment that, you know, she's the lady who has worked in banking for years. She managed bank branches and things like
It goes
that.
back to PK. Yeah.
PK, yeah. She said that on your small business owners, about 80 to 90% of them are using a personal checking account for their business. So that's plumbers, electricians, 1099 workers, definitely. But so many of those people, they don't take the step to go and apply for a business license. And also, we were discussing, in a lot of the banks, it's very expensive to get a business checking account. And some people, they're not making enough revenue to do that. The other thing that was brought up was about the Uber drivers and, needing to get new tires and stuff like that. And, brakes. If they're in an accident, they need money for the
Deductible.
But also, think of anybody else who's a 1099 worker, or a commission only type worker, where they rely on their vehicle to get to their job. That's real estate agents, different people like that. If they have issues with their car, they might need money for that.
Good points. All right. Anything else in the chat? Or we'll
No,
wrap
but
up here.
one other thing that I will say, only because this came up on my team this week, a lot of people, whenever you go and log into your back office for longevity, keep in mind, it's going to tell you, give you a quote unquote reminder to pay your annual fee. As a DAC agent, you do not have to do that. We don't have to pay that $49.95. But while you're on there, check and make sure that all of your information is correct, that your mailing address is current and up to date, and your phone number and your email address is correct, because we've had several people recently that was not the case.
Awesome.
So that was all that I had for today.
Okay, great. Good stuff tonight. Great call tonight. I appreciate everybody who's asked a question or testimonials. Anybody that had comments, I appreciate your input tonight. That brings value to everyone, because questions come up that someone else may be wanting to ask, but it gets answered through someone else's question. So thanks again, guys. It is Monday. We'll have our next call is this coming Friday, our agent update Friday at 11:30 a.m. at daczoom.com. David will be giving us more updates at that time about the timelines for our new product launch. But just get ready. Keep building your team. Keep building your list. And it is go time for each and every one of you to get serious about DAC, so that you don't feel like you're getting left behind, because there will be people that are just taking off like crazy with the growth of their business because of this new product line. So let me know how I can help. I'm always here to help either answer your questions or guide you to the person in your team that you should be working with. I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you on the next Zoom on Friday. Take care, everyone. Have a good night.